Welcome back. Thanks for clicking into another edition of the Friday Five. A look ahead at the 5 best high school football games Montana has to offer on this weekend. I am Slim Kimmel with the Billings Gazette. Let's start in Double A, where we have Helena Capital hosting Billings Senior. The Bruins, 5-1 on the season, coming off of that loss at Bozeman last weekend. Looking to kind of bounce back from that one against a senior team that's 4-2. Maybe a surprise to some out there. Both teams give up right around 19 points a game, but the difference, Helena Capital averages right around 38 points per game on offense, where Billings Senior's right around 22, so there's a bit of a difference there. Can Senior go on the road, get that signature win against the Bruins, or do the Bruins bounce back, watch that taste out of their mouth after last week's defeat? We'll find out on Friday in Helena. Moving into Class A, let's look back at the Eastern A. We have Miles City hosting Billings Central. The Cowboys stayed at number 5 in the Class A poll, even though they did lose at Laurel last weekend. 2 turnovers really costly in that game for them, but Ben Herzog is a really good athlete for them. He plays quarterback. He runs and throws the ball equally well. Alec Haugen, his favorite target in the passing attack there. They welcome in the Rams, who have won 38 Eastern A games in a row. The Rams kind of last weekend relied on Holden Ryan and Colin Hollitz. Both guys got 2 touchdowns for the Rams last weekend. So we'll see who comes out in that important Eastern A clash over there in Miles City. Now let's move on to Class B, where the game of the week across all classes, we have Baker traveling to Forsyth. The Dogies beat the Spartans last year for the first time ever. Coach Chris Hess says he hasn't been able to find any records that indicate Forsyth has ever beaten Baker before that game, a double overtime thriller. Can the Dogies make it 2 in a row this week? They're kind of contrasting styles. Baker likes to pound the rock. They have a 3-headed rushing attack with Mason Melby, Jonathan Wiseman, Jordan Walker at quarterback, versus Forsyth, which kind of likes to use an explosive offense. They've got Luke Schwegler, Brandon Weber, Chris Nile, Gage Adams. Those guys are playmakers. Freshman Casey Cole coming along nicely at quarterback. So who's going to come out on top of that one? The winner is in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed out of the 3B. And the number 1 seed out of the 3B, if they continue to win in the state playoffs, has home field advantage throughout, including the championship. So this is a big game for those 2 teams in the 3B. Now moving into 8-man, let's look at the Southern C. They start their playoffs, their conference playoffs next weekend. Park City and Broadview Lavina in the eastern half of the Southern C play this weekend to determine the subdivision's top seed for the playoffs. Clear as mud, right? In any case, the winner here likely hosts White Sulphur Springs next weekend. The loser probably has to travel to Ennis in the playoffs, so it's kind of a big game there. Look for Ian Glennie, Nate Hanser for Broadview Lavina. For Park City, Ty Robbie, I believe. He's the guy that had a bunch of touchdowns last weekend. So look for a good game between those two. Broadview Lavina on a short week after playing on Monday this week as well. And then moving into 6C, I think the best game here might be Westby Granora versus Alberton St. Regis. Those 2 are meeting on Saturday in Reed Point in a West versus East battle, but the most important game is Jordan and Terry. Those 2 teams jockeying for that number 3 playoff seed out of the East behind Savage and Westby Granora. So let's see who comes out on top between Jordan and Terry. We know the playmakers there. Kyle Lastly, if you remember, for Terry, had that 10-touchdown game a couple weeks ago. Connor Murney and TJ Green, the guys for Jordan there. So look for an important game in the standings for the 6-man East there between Jordan and Terry, with the winner likely wrapping up at least the number 3 seed for the playoffs going forward.